Hello, welcome. So in this video, I'm going to give you a quick introduction about the web development course. So in this course, we will learn three different languages, three different programming languages. So the first programming language that we will learn is called HTML. The second one is called CSS. And the third one is JavaScript, which is a really important programming language that we will spend quite some time and learning how to code with JavaScript. So HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It's been created by a guy called Tim Berners-Lee. He is a professor of computer science at Oxford University in UK. He wrote a memo in 1989 bringing this idea of HTML to light. So he wrote the memo to his boss for the company that he was working for, and no one knew what he's talking about. So no one responded to his memo. But 18 months later, his boss allowed him to create HTML as a side project for his work. So he started coding HTML. And sometime in early 90s, that is when the HTML became a really popular programming language. And today, it is one of the most important programming languages that's out there when it comes to web development. Almost every website that we have seen has a HTML programming language. So what does it do? It basically helps us to create the skeleton of a web page. So all the the text that we see on our browser, the fonts, different size fonts, the bullet points, all of these things that we see in our web page is created using HTML. So it is a standardized system for tagging text files to create, good fonts, to create colors for the font. You can create graphics, and you can create hyperlinks for the texts. The second programming language that we will learn is called CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. It's been created by a man called Håkon William Lie. He's a Norwegian guy. So in 1994, that's when he came up with this programming language. So what it does is that it helps us to beautify and control the layout of multiple web pages at once. It's not necessary that you know CSS to create really good looking web pages, but it saves a lot of time for us to create a really good looking web pages. If you know the CSS, you can style your web page using HTML, but it's going to take you a long time because you have to go every page and every sentence to make the changes. Where if you use CSS, you can create the changes by just doing few clicks. So it is a way to beautify and style your web applications. The third one, which is really the most important programming language that is out there today, and we will learn here in this course as well, is called JavaScript. JavaScript is an object-oriented computer programming language, and it is commonly used to create an interactive web pages. If you want to create a web page that is really dynamic and that's responsive, then you have to use a JavaScript. Or if you want to create a game, you have to use a JavaScript, or maybe a programming language that is similar to JavaScript. This programming language has been created by a man called Brendan Eich sometime in the early 90s. It's developed after that, but he's the first one who started coding JavaScript. So the websites that we see today can be divided into two. Some of the websites we can call static web pages or static websites, which most of the websites that you see today are static web pages. The other one is called dynamic web pages. So what is the difference between the two? I would like to show you an example so you can see what a static web page looks like and what a dynamic web page looks like as well. So if we look at this website, I think most of you know it. This is Mansour Hotel in Hargeisa. So if you look at this web page, this is a good example of a static web page. What does that mean is that this text right here will always be here unless someone goes into the HTML file and changes this text and then republishes the web page. So it's going to stay here. So that's called a static. So if I refresh the page and then I come back, the text is still here. It's not changing it. So it's not dynamic. It's a static web page. These pictures right here will always be here unless someone goes and changes these pictures or replaces with other pictures. So that's called a static web page. To create this kind of a web page, you only need to know HTML and CSS. You really need to know only HTML. You can create all of these by using only HTML. But if you know CSS, you can also create some beautiful layouts and fonts, and you can style the page really in a better way. So that's called a static web page. What is a dynamic web page? Dynamic web page could be like your Facebook. So if you go to your Facebook and you see some text here, some people are here right now. If I refresh this one, this whole thing will change. Something else is going to pop up. So for example, if I refresh this one right now, something else pops up. You know, this Sheikh Omar comes up here. There was this car running here. It wasn't here before. This guy's there's Sheikh Mustafa is here too. So there's a bunch of things popping up. So if you refresh again, something else is going to pop up. So this is called a dynamic web page. So how do you create all of these? This is what we're going to learn when we are during this course. How you can create a dynamic web page and how you can also create a static web page. The technology for the web development application can be divided into two. We can say a front end developer or development and back end development. So if someone can call himself or herself a front end developer. So if you are a front end developer, you can call yourself also a web designer. What that means is that you can create a static web pages because you know HTML and CSS and maybe some level of JavaScript. So you will be able to create the aesthetics of a web page. You can apply all the design principles, and you can create a really good looking web pages. But they will not be an interactive web pages. They will not be really dynamic web pages like the Facebook or Google News or those dynamic web pages. Or you're not going to be able to create a game. In the back-end development, there is a lot of technology that you need to know. If you want to become a back-end developer, you should know, of course, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So you should have an in-depth knowledge of JavaScript to become a back-end developer. And a PHP is similar to JavaScript, so you should know at least one of them. So in this course, we will learn JavaScript because JavaScript is one of the most popular programming language out there today, and it's really very important one as well. So in this course, are you going to become? What are you going to be? Are you going to become a front-end developer or back-end developer? Or are you going to be something different? You will become a full stack developer. What that means is that you will learn how to become how you can code front end and also the back end of a web application. So being someone who is a full stack web developer means that you are able to code the server and all the back-end technology, but also you will know the front-end technology, which you will be able to create a beautiful and good-looking web pages as well. Okay, so in the next video, in another video, I'm going to show you how the three technologies work together: the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay, so check out the next video so you will see how the three technologies are interacting with one another. Thank you so much.